gentlemen, with his speech titled The Power of the Path. Give it up for Brian Gourlay.
Thank you, Linda. I'm very cognizant of the fact that Linda just gave my whole speech. So if anybody wants to still listen to me, fine, you can. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and at the end of them, I would like to see a show of hands. If you're wearing an Apple Watch today, and you've looked at it to see how many steps you've done and how many calories you've burnt, let me know. If you have a cell phone where you track your food, and you track your calories, and you track everything that you do, let me know. If you get a monthly review with your leader, if you get a semi-annual review at your job, or if you get an annual appraisal, or if you're self-employed and you set goals for yourself in your self-employment, let me know. Think about every single thing that I just said, and if any one of those things is you, raise your hand. Look around the room. Just take a look around the room. Thank you very much. You can put your hands down. Each and every one of us are tracking our food, tracking our goals, tracking our careers. Now I want you to think about this question and only answer it in your mind. Are you tracking your Toastmasters? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. I want you to imagine you're standing at the base of a mountain. At the top of this mountain is a beautiful scenic view. And you know that the way up is up. Pretty simple, right? If I want to get to the top of the mountain, I have to walk up. How do I get to the top of the mountain? I can go down this path right here and walk around and eventually find somewhere that gets me to the top of this mountain. Or I can go down this path over here where I can go that somebody's already created a path up the mountain, given me direction, and show me on the way up that there's multiple different angles that I can take. There's multiple different checkpoints along the way. Has anybody walked up a mountain and seen you're halfway there, 10 more minutes to go, and you're looking up and going, oh my God, I'm never going to get to the top of this mountain? Those are the two paths we can take. And what Toastmasters Pathways does for us, it gives us a pathway to completion of our speeches. And the first thing we need to be able to do is direction. Direction is the first thing we need. When you started tracking your food and started tracking your steps, you had a goal in mind. You had a direction where you wanted to get to. When you sat down with your leader and you set your objectives for your work, you had an end goal in mind. When I first started Toastmasters, I bet you we all did it. We came in here and went, I want to be a better speaker. Am I correct? Well, what does that mean? It could mean multiple things. Do I want to be a persuasive speaker? Do I want to be an educational type speaker? What is it that I want to be better at speaking? And this is what the Toastmaster Pathway does for us. If you go onto the Toastmasters Pathway website, you can choose a pathway that is right for what your goals are. We all came in here for different reasons. And there is a pathway out there that will help you with whatever your reason is that you came into this room. And that's the first thing we do, is direction. The next thing that Toastmasters Pathways allows us is progress. As we're going through the process of the Toastmasters journey, we can measure progress. As Linda said, and I'm very cognizant of it, and all of you are very cognizant of it, that there's 5 steps to a pathway, 5 speeches, right? And each step builds on the next step. You're gaining progress as you go. And as you're going through the process of progressing, each speech that you give builds on the next speech. And your knowledge and your information builds and builds and builds, and you're getting building blocks. You're getting more and more confident. You're getting better at what you're doing. You come up here and you get comfortable. I can't believe the room is so far back. And you're building and building and building. Imagine a ladder up against a building, and you want to get on the roof. How do you get up to the roof? One rung at a time, right? One rung at a time. And then eventually you get to the top of the ladder and you get to the roof. So Toastmasters Pathways does exactly that. The first speech is building, and then each speech after that is building, building, building onto the next speech. And then you may think, how does this apply to me in my life? You may have come in here saying, I want to be better at presenting to the board. Or I want to be better at interview skills. Or maybe you're a salesman and you want to be better at your sales. You may have come in here just for the sole fact that your loving family member is getting married and you want to give a toast at that wedding. Whatever the reason that you came in here, you have to start at a point, you have to set a goal, and you have to have actions on your way there. And that's what the pathway journey does for you. It sets you on a path that you don't even have to think about. Now, once you're done with your pathway, that's not the end of the road. That's just the beginning of the road if you choose to. There are multiple paths that you can take. There's 5, 6, 7, 8 different paths that will give you different skill sets and be able to help you with different things. Not only that, you can choose to go on a Toastmaster journey, which is to the Distinguished Toastmaster, where Linda is. And that is another journey you can take. And Toastmasters does the exact same thing, is it helps you on the journey. Step by step. If you go onto the Toastmasters website, there is a very specific journey you can follow. So fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I want to bring you back to that initial thing that I said about that mountain. And you want to get up to that beautiful scenic view. Which path are you going to take? Are you going to take the path where you're not too sure where to go? Or are you going to take the path that leads you perfectly, step by step, up that mountain? You need to decide. If you have not started a path yet, please, 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 log on to Toastmasters and set yourself up on a pathway. And start it today and measure your journey. Madam Toastmaster.